Okay, hello and good morning. Let's see. Oh, why did that pop up down there? Okay. So we diverged a little bit. I guess it was the last couple of sessions with this box concept styling, and I decided to just remove that. The reason isn't because I noticed it wasn't working out, but it took away time dealing with actual, like the next release of Overmind, because I really want to get that out. And I had some thoughts around the changes we made to the State Machine API. And I think it's worth more our time to look into that instead of styling. And other people are looking at this box concept anyway, so yeah, I just didn't want to spend time on that. I did keep around the code though, like box concept, so we can explore it later if we want to. Now, the thing I started thinking about related to the state machines is that I noticed that with this concept, we are actually able to introduce more strictness into Overmind. So you can imagine, like, when you use an immutable approach like Redux, the only way to change state is through the reducers. Like, you have to return a new state value there. So they are kind of like protected against making changes from the outside, kinda. Like, you can fudge up inside the reducer. Well, not inside the reducer, but basically you're not using an immutable library inside your reducer. And that causes you to be able to mutate anything from the outside. For some reason, it seems like, which I find extremely funny, is like people are saying like, yeah, immutability and you can change state wherever, and Redux kind of fixes that, but it doesn't fix it at all. Like, what people typically do is that they just use spread and like they manually make copies of their state. But it's not enough to only make copies. You also have to ensure that you can't change the state from outside of the reducers. And there's nothing protecting that, which is just insane to me. And they're like bashing on other libraries, which are mutable by nature. And that they are unsafe, but they are not unsafe because they are actually protecting mutations from the outside. So for example, in MobX, you can use actions, and you're only allowed to change state within these actions. If you try to change it from a component, you get an error. So a typical example would be that you want to sort an array. It's so typical because we often forget that sorting arrays actually mutates the existing array. You're not getting a new array like you do with concat, for example. Anyway, so this typically happens in the Redux application. You want to sort something in the component and you just do it. And then suddenly you have changed the array inside the reducer, and you're not supposed to be allowed to do that for like predictability and consistency reasons. Yeah, so that's just really funny to me. But anyways, so Overmind does the same thing. You're only allowed to change your state within the actions. And Overmind uses a different approach than MobX, because in Overmind you can even do asynchronous mutations safely. Well, in MobX you kind of have to call other actions and stuff to do asynchronous stuff. Anyways, so what I thought about with these state machines is that we can actually take it one step further. So I've already refactored this, and if we take a look in our index file, you can see that I'm running strict true, and this is part of the next release, and I think I'm just going to release this because what this allows you to do is basically, when adding strict, you aren't allowed to even change state within actions, which might sound a little bit crazy, but what it does is that state concepts within the state tree needs to manually deal with allowing mutations. So with state machines, they already do this. They say that when you call a transition, let's see, if you call, do we have a transition here? No, we don't have a transition there. Do we have, here we have transition. So if you call a transition, you are allowed, if the transition is valid, this object will be merged into the state tree. And then if you call matches, I'll talk about this change soon, you are also allowed to do mutations within the callback. So we're scoping where you are allowed to make mutations, and they're all behind these transition states, which is the whole thing about state machines, is that they can control where you are allowed. They're kind of guarding your changes, state changes, which is really, really interesting. Okay, so that's strict mode. The other thing I did is that I changed the matches API so that it also uses a callback. And I did it because of, basically because of consistency. And also here you will now get like the machine, which is correctly typed, because the if approach only works for like one level, which is kind of annoying. But doing it with a callback, we can do as many matches as we want, and you will always get the typed correct thing in the callback here. But yeah, what it also does is that it allows us to clean up a little bit. As you can see here, I'm just doing export set date, and then I'm just calling matches directly. So you see the code becomes really, really, really nice. And even when I have these complex nested things, it also becomes really nice to read it. So if it matches add backlog item at the top, if I'm authenticated, and I'm in a valid or an error state, I should be able to add a backlog item, which is pretty cool. Yes, so it actually cleaned up even more. So I'm actually super happy about this. Now, one thing that we didn't explore, which I want to explore today, is that we decided to have this structure of, let's see, state. So we have this root state, which is basically, we have like initializing, home, add backlog item, like actually it's after you're authenticated. This is the state we want. So what I thought we would do is rather do this kind of the right way. So we'll put our auth at the root, and then when we are actually authenticated, then we allow this thing. And when we actually are on add backlog item, then we allow the backlog item state. In terms of actions, these actions will rather be, I'll show you, but we won't have namespaces here. I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to more manually build up the state tree and the actions. Because namespaces are basically just some tiny helpers. So let me show you how this works. Okay, how should we do this? I guess we're going to break the app quite a bit here. So let's see, on initialize, that's okay. Actions auth, well, now that will be on the root. Maybe we should flip this around first. So we're going to have how should we do this? I think we want to should we call it namespaces, or should we just add it here? That's the question. Okay, let's try to, we have to explore a little bit here. So let's call it namespaces. And then we are going to add one file here called home. And then we're going to add another file called add backlog item. So they are kind of like features. Yes, and then we need to move this state into home. And what's initializing doing? Do we actually, is that part of, I'm not quite sure what we do with initializing. Is that something? I wonder what we use that for. Do we even use it? Maybe we're not even using it. Because when does it actually change to home? Does it do that? I would imagine we did that. Yeah. Yes, we're just changing to home there. Yeah, but we don't really have to do that anymore. Okay, so let's try removing initializing. Yeah, and by the way, it's not called state anymore. It's called current. So that cleans up the naming conventions. Okay, so we don't have initializing. Let's remove that. Oh yeah, we can even remove this whole thing. That's nice. So we always start at home. And then we have yeah. And then, okay, we have all this base state, and I guess that's perfectly okay. But then when we are on add backlog item, we are actually going to have a state machine dealing with that. So that means we need, let's see, what should we call it? Yeah, I guess we can call it add backlog item. I'm just going to name it any for now, because what we're going to do is we're going to take this thing, we're going to move it in here, and then we are going to, yeah, I'm a little bit unsure how we're going to structure it, but let's keep exploring. Valid, invalid, adding valid, invalid, blah, 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 blah. That's okay. So this is giving us a state. And now the exciting thing is I'm actually going to put the actions in the same file. Let's see. How will this look like? Then these two are coming from overmind as well. How is this going to look? Yeah, so now it, of course, it starts complaining a little bit. Now the thing is, I would ideally want, yeah, let's just do this for now. Ideally, I want to export these on two different things. So I have like state, and then I have all the actions. I don't know if the import actually allows like blah as whoop. That would be interesting if that was allowed. So you can kind of spread out the rest of the exports. That would be very interesting. Or can I do like star as whoop? No, I can't do that. No. Okay. Yeah, but I think I can do, let's see how we can do this. So let's just try to think about this as importing star as backlog item. Is it add backlog item? From namespaces add backlog item. And how would we spread these two? So we have our state. Yeah, this is interesting. So we would have like a root state, and then we would have add backlog item, but we only want the state from it. This was a little bit more tricky than I thought. Because it would be nice if I had like, ideally I would have like state actions, but again, now this becomes state actions on all the imports, so I would have to rename them anyways. So I guess it would be have to add backlog dot state, but then for the actions, root actions, then how would I spread? I can't like spread all the, I would have to like this structure. Okay, this is not working out the way I wanted it to. Yeah, so ideally I would export all the actions on one object. The problem with that is that it's not possible to type this in a good way. Actually, though I could say, so I can do this and then say export const actions equals, and then I will kind of add all the things on auth changed, sign in, sign out. That's one way to do it, but then I have to like define it up here and then add it down here. It would be really nice to just add them, but then I can't type them. So if I add something new action here, like I can't type this thing. Like I can't say like action or anything like that. I would have to do like as action, which is silly. Like that's not what I want. You can't like cast like you can in other languages. So how would I actually do this? I wish there was a way to do this, like do like action and then it's too bad. Well, this was a tricky thing with Overmind in the beginning, that we chose, like we had to choose, do you type on the left side or do you type on the right side, or do we use like factories? Well, there are three versions. You can type on the left side, you can manually type the arguments, or you can have an action factory, so you write like action. The benefit of having an action factory is that you can do, for example, action like this. And then it's actually typed correctly, because if you need to do any typing there, you can do like string, for example, and it will automatically figure out the return type. So if you made this async, it would automatically become async, like a promised return value. It would automatically understand what you're returning from it. So it's quite powerful. Okay, so let's explore that. Like now I feel like forced to trying out that concept. And we have already diverged from left side typing with derived. We are now exposing like a derived thing. And actually this is basically up to you as well when you set up the typing. You can easily create this. No, you can't easily create this action yourself. That's the problem. Yeah, so having this left side typing is what allows us to do like circular stuff. So you have like your index file where you set up all the typing for the app, and then you create the types for it. And those types goes back into the actions. But if you were to export like an action function here, which is typed to your application, you wouldn't be able to import that action up here again, because you're already importing the action here. That's the problem. So to be able to actually use the action function with explicit typing, which I'm not doing here, I'm using implicit typing, but to use it with explicit typing, you would always have to pass in the second a second type here, which is like your config. But maybe that's okay. Maybe that is perfectly okay. Maybe that's the way it should have been done from the beginning. But let's try this now. So yeah, how are we going to do this? I guess, yeah, how are we going to do this? To make this actually work, we need to actually create a new file. Yeah. Okay, let's make it a util. That's okay to do that. So export const action. This should be a function let's see, it should be, so input equals void and then config. Yeah, we don't need that. Input equals void. And how would we do this? And then we need O, which can be anything. Oh, this sucks. I guess, this sucks. Yeah, this sucks. Because we can't, god damn it. This is also interesting. Because we want to be able to say what kind of input we have, but we still want to infer the output, which is a thing I don't hate it, but it's really annoying with TypeScript because you want partially generics. You want some of it to be user-defined, and then you still want some generic things. But maybe we can get around this. So I want this action, and what we're going to pass in here is an actual action. Let's grab that action from Overmind. Now the thing is, now this isn't like, now we can use input here, but we don't have the generic output. That's the tricky thing, but we really do want a generic output. How can we deal with that? Because like, there's no way for me to like have a generic here. Unless you would do like double functions, which is just silly. So I could do like, okay, let's have an input there, and then we do this, and then we can do the O here, and then we can say whatever you return. But maybe, if I didn't do it like this, if I do it manually, so I can say, let's see, what's the type definition for an action? I don't remember. I-action, blah, 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 blah. Inferred return value. Okay, so it's just a context and a value. Yeah, so I think we can try to type this manually actually. And then I think we're allowed to do the thing. So here we do an O. And then we say this is the context. And there's a type in Overmind called iContext, which needs the config. So we'll grab this also from Overmind. And then we have a value, which is the input. And then whatever we return, we return. And what we're going to do here, we are basically just going to return the action. Yeah, so that's the thing that I didn't like about, like I tried to balance JavaScript and TypeScript, And this is silly. You have a function that just returns the thing you pass to it. And the only reason it does this is because of typing. So for JavaScript, this doesn't make any sense at all. But with the derived, it's a little bit differently because it's not just typing. It actually creates a special function that's return. So this is like my struggle with JavaScript and TypeScript, is that it you end up with an API surface that makes no sense for a JavaScript developer, but it makes a ton of sense for a TypeScript developer. Anyways, we could put these things as part of the TypeScript documentation though. Anyways, I'm going way off here. So let's see now. Let's try this action and see what happens. From utils. So, oh yeah, so I guess I have to say that no, that should just work. Let's see what it's comparing. Type void is not assignable to type O. Okay, in R. Oh, that's interesting. So why does O? Why doesn't that work? Why does it complain about this? Type void is not assignable to type O. Do I have to be explicit about it? Like extends any? But then this complains. Oh. Yeah, we're getting, this is what I'm talking about. It's the circular thing. But is it because of that thing it does that? Oh, it already complains. Action implicitly has type any because it does not have a type annotation. Yeah, and is referenced directly or indirectly in its own initializer. Yeah, so this is the issue. Like in Overmind, we want this circular thing. We want you to be able from any action to point to any other action and state and effects, which is an important feature. Because then you don't have to restructure your stuff all the time as you explore your application. But yeah, this is making me a little bit upset. Action implicitly has. So what it wants me to do, it wants me to type it on the left side because I'm probably using, I don't know. I'm just wondering, does it yell at me because I'm using it here or? Yeah, okay, so it's basically just, it's not this thing. It's just because I'm using it here. Yeah, and because I'm using it here, this thing becomes unknown, I guess. And then, yeah. Yeah, this is very interesting. But I wasn't actually, I had forgotten about this, why we typed on the left side. It was because, like, we spent so much time, like, I had this idea, I wanted the actions to be point to any other piece of state. It's iterated so many times trying to make the typing work. And then we landed on the left side typing. But we actually landed on it because of this. We wanted this circular thing to work. So we can't actually have this action thing, I think. But But I do wonder why it's like that. What if I say like extends void? Then this starts complaining again. Interesting. Untyped function calls main. Why doesn't it change now? It seems like, do I need to restart? Yeah. So the thing is, if I were to change this to any, it starts working immediately. It should start work immediately. I don't understand this O thing though. Is that the problem? Yeah, I don't know why it complains about that. That's weird. What if I add the thingy again? Yeah, now it starts complaining. Ah, this is so annoying. And I was going to show you something completely different, and then we got stuck here. Like we always do. Oh, this is interesting. So now suddenly this actually works again. But the problem now is if I return like 1, 2, 3, if I were to point to this action now, yeah, how are we going to do this? So I should get like context and val is, you see it's a string, but it still returns any. That's the problem. But as soon as I introduce a generic here, it completely fails. I wonder why it does that. I could try something else here. Input action extends. Or are you complaining again? Is it because I need to do this? Why are you complaining? Oh. Yeah. This would have to be action equals. Can I do this? What happens now? No, now it starts complaining again. Why is it complaining about this generic? I don't understand why it complains about that. Why is that the thing that causes it to be a problem? Now it suddenly doesn't complain about it. But now this starts to complain about it. So type number is not assignable to type O. O could be instantiated with an arbitrary type, which could be unrelated to number. In what way can O be unrelated to number? Am I thinking about this the wrong way? Do I have to like explicitly say that this is the thing we are returning? No, now it's complaining here again. What the fudge? What's happening? I have no idea what's happening here. Like, why can't it just do what I want it to? Why? Oh well. I guess, yeah, because we can't use a generic there. Okay, so let's try to do this in a different way. So instead of doing this stuff, we are not going to do this, but we are going to use explicit typing. So we are going to say iContext config here instead. And we could expose like context. Maybe we already do that, by the way. That's from React, from Overmind. Oh, we do that. And then we say string. Now this should work. Yeah, maybe this is the way. Oh, I'm going crazy with this typing. Like, I don't want you to... But maybe this is better. I don't know. I just don't know. Is it better or is it not better? Maybe it is. Maybe this is how you should type things. It's the exact same thing in React. Like, do you do export const comp react fc like this? Or do you just go in here, you have some props, and then you type them like this? If you do this, you don't have children. Like, how would you type children? Then you would have to explicitly say like React children or something. But that's perfectly okay, because now you decide if this component actually receives children or not. But it's kind of like you are telling the function what it is instead of like manually telling it what it is. While if you do this, you're saying, I want a React component. And then the function helps you to do the right thing. And this is what annoys me so much with typing. And this is how you typically type in other languages. You say, this is what I want, or it's automatically inferred by the value. But you don't like go in and, or do you do that? Ah, it's so annoying. Okay, but we are going to do this instead. So let's see. Okay, so we're going to have a bit of a longer stream today because I really want to finish exploring this. Where did that action come from? Is that something I added? I guess so. So this is context. What just happened? Oh, there we go. Why is this complaining? Oh, did it add from React now? No. Why is this suddenly problematic now? It might be because this is all crazy now. Maybe I should fix this. God damn it. Oh, I'm starting to get discouraged. Yeah. Because now we explicitly have to say like add backlog item. And then say like add backlog item state. And then we have to do the exact same thing here. Actions. Which isn't like crazy bad. But it's kinda... I guess it's okay. Okay, let's just finish exploring this, see how it looks at the end. Oh, so we're still getting... What the fudge? Are we still getting the issue? Okay, so let me remove these ones. Okay, let's only add... Let's see. So we're not going to have any state here. We're only going to have the actions. Why is it complaining? Oh, yeah. We don't need merge. Now this directly or indirectly by its own type initializer. And that's because and I believe it's because of this. Why is this? Oh. Oh my god. This is completely breaking everything. Why is effects causing this? Like, yeah, no, it's the action. Okay, so this doesn't work either. That freaking sucks. Ooh, god damn it. I didn't know that it could break, but this is supposed to be the same thing. Or is it because I'm using like iconfig, sorry, icontext, iconfig. Oh, sorry, config. Yeah, the same thing happens. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that sucks. That sucks big time. Oh, god damn it. But anyways, I'm kind of glad because we don't have to make any actual changes. We can just do this and then this. And this can be a type of config. And it should be happy about this. I'm not sure why it complains about effects though. Like, what are we doing differently here? Is it because we are actually... Is this also a thing? Is it because we're exporting them on this object? Are you kidding me? Is that why it breaks so badly? That's very interesting. That is certainly interesting. Oh no, sorry. It was the action thingy. We removed that. Sorry. Oh, but then did it actually work? Oh, god damn it. Let's try again. I just have to double check. Let's see. And now we say context. No, that doesn't work. Yeah. Nope, that doesn't work. But this should work. You see it does it lazily. Type of import effects. And this is just, I don't understand actually how this works. Like TypeScript is such a beast when it comes to how the typing works. But yeah. So our effects, we can put them at the top here. Cool. Yeah, and you know what we can do here? We can actually just have this index thing. And what we're going to do is we're still going to, yeah, this is interesting. So let's move these back here, into Overmind. And home. Because what we're going to do is we're also going to have auth here. Like this. But what we are going to do, oh shit, where did we put auth? Where did auth go? Did we put that into backlog item? Yes, we did. This is supposed to be part of auth. And then we have the state for auth. Let's see. This is supposed to come from Firebase. Let's see. Like this looks like a complete mess now, but it's going to look much better. I promise. Yes. And here we have our state. So the only thing now is it's not very explicit. Where does your state, what's your state and what's your actions? Well, it's kind of explicit because you typically start out with your state and then you have your actions underneath. But yeah, what I don't like about this is that you have to create your action first and then add it to the thingy. But that, okay, let's just do that for now. And then what we're going to do, we're going to say auth.state and then auth.actions. So we're manually building up our thing here. Then we have the actions of add backlog item, which are these actions. And these are not exported anymore. Oops. Okay, and then we're rather going to export actions. Does it understand? No. Change description. Toggle active weekday. Set date. Set selection. Add backlog item. Yes. So now we have that. Let's remove this. Let's remove this. Let's remove this. But we still use effects. I typically have that on the top. Okay, so that that stuff, and yeah, and we already copied over this stuff, right? This was the add backlog item state. Oh, let's remove this and this. Yes, that's okay. So I guess we can delete this one now. Delete. And we're also ready with our auth, so we can delete that one. And then our namespaces, we can delete that one. Then we have actions, and this is actually for home. And again, we don't want to export these directly. We want them to be part of thingamajig. So export cons actions equals was open screen, and on backlog update, on weeks update, toggle backlog item day. Yeah, we need action here. And async action. Yeah, I'm going to remember this now. The reason we do left side typing is to allow, show notification, is to allow circular dependencies. Okay, so this is nice. Now we can also delete actions, and we should also be able to delete state here, because this is now part of this should be part of home. Previous weekdays, home, add backlog item. Yes. So this is also old. Okay, so this is interesting that we have like, now we have our namespaces in the actual Overmind folder. Fuck, where did auth go? Where did auth go? God damn it. No. No, 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 no. Where? Are you kidding me? Did we just delete auth? No! For fuck's sake. Ah, god damn it. Oh, wait, we still have it. Oh, good thing we have GitHub. Oh my god. Let's see. Good thing we have GitHub. And no idea how I was able to actually delete that file. I'm going to look at the recording, like maybe it was a bug. Probably it was me. Oh yeah, because I moved it probably into the state file because I thought it was going to be the root, but then I decided no, it should be its own file. Blah blah blah. Let's see. That's it. And then we have our state. Oh, thank you for that. I'm going all. No, something's happening here. Where is my auth file? What the hell? So auth ts. Title has, okay, so there is something fishy going on there. Oh, here it is. Oh, yeah, we have completely messed up. Oh, this is not good. I wonder what happens when I refresh now. Is everything fudged up? I wonder. Oh, now we have auth there. Okay, that's interesting. So we have our auth back. That's interesting. Anyways, it looks like we're all good now. So what we want is we want home. This was definitely home.state, home.actions. Do we have anything else there? No, I don't think so. We have auth, home, and add backlog item. Yes. Okay, so now we can go in and we can actually fix all this stuff. So, yeah, it's called add backlog item, add backlog item. That's basically what needs to change. Yeah, and then state. So I guess we should change these two around. So it's state matches authenticated, state home. Oops. And this should be called add backlog item state. Let's use that instead. This is from utils. Actions home. State home. Transition home. Okay, cool. That's that one. I don't think this one. Yeah, so since this is on the root, maybe we shouldn't call it home, but like we should call it something else. What should we call it? Not home, but main or something. Well, I guess it's called screens. Yeah, because it's basically just a bunch of screens, isn't it? Well, screens is kind of a silly name. Because it's holding all this other state as well. What should it be called? Home add backlog item plan next week. Because it's certainly not home. It's like it's the main application. It's the app. What do we call that? Well, it's kind of home. Let's just call it home for now. I don't have the patience to. I can change it later. Cool. Yeah, it doesn't look as clean, that's for sure. Maybe we should have namespaces. God damn it. Yeah. Maybe we should. Or maybe this is a good thing. I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. Anyways, let's see. And then we have home. This needs to change a bit. State home transition. I think we should call it app. state home. Yeah, let's call it app. I'm decided now. Let's call it app. And then we need to change this into app. And app and app. And I guess we get errors here again. But yeah, this is a nice thing about TypeScript. You can imagine fiddling around with this without TypeScript. That would be just crazy, 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 crazy. Cool. And then, oops, we have, oh yeah, then it's app. App state app matches blah 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 app appity state app days state matches authenticated blah blah blah, and then we have an issue with our backlog item. Add backlog item. Yeah, and then we have use app state, add backlog item, actions, app, open screen, actions, oops, and backlog item. Weekday picker. Oh, color is missing. Yeah, let's fix that later. We have our app. There we go. Backlog item. Oops. Yeah, it's kind of hard to do these refactors. Oh. Oh my god, sorry. App. There we go. And then we have home. This needs to be like that. And then app. App. And what we could also do now, which would be perfectly valid, is to where is this on initialize? Oh, which would be perfectly valid, is to merge auth and where is this in auth? Oh. It's not a function. Oh, fudge. God damn it. Oh, yeah. So the thing is, and this is what I was leaning towards. So, yeah, we can't spread this because it's a state machine. We can't spread the state machine. So the thing is, yeah, maybe this was a really bad idea. God damn it. Maybe we should have used namespaces. because the thing is, what I wanted to explore, this is like, god damn it, this must be super confusing. Because what I wanted to test is that we have auth is like the root state, and that's like a state machine. And then I wanted to add the app when it was authenticated. So on the authenticated, we would actually add the app machine. Yeah. But what about the actions then? Like, how would we structure the actions? So if all the state machines were like nested, so that's what I wanted to do on authenticated here. I wanted to say like app is type of app state. That's what I wanted to do. And then this actually imported the state machine for the app, which is really nice. It's just the actions. I don't quite know where to put them. But maybe it's not that bad having all the actions available. Like you structure them in folders, but you expose them on the same level. Because what I've noticed for discoverability is, like, for example, Codesandbox, it's quite hard sometimes to remember what namespaces holds what actions. And of course you can discover by just dotting into the different namespaces. Yeah, maybe that's not a good argument. Yeah, where would we put the actions? Where would we put the actions? Because it would be like too much. Like, I guess we could, so auth has this type of app state, and then the point is we would have to use like auth.state here. But here suddenly we treat the actions differently, so we would do something like this. I don't know. And then I guess we wouldn't call it auth, we would just call it state. Yeah, so we're basically treating state and actions as two separate things. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Shit, do I have a meeting? Monday. Ooh, no, it's 10:30. Yeah. Yeah, so it would just be state, and then we would do like import. Okay, let's just try something here. How would we do this? If we just said state and we said actions, and then we have auth, But then, god damn it, this is so annoying. Okay, let's see. Not state file, not actions, but we would have a folder called state and a folder called actions. Yes, and then we say index.ts and index.ts. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put all the auth stuff into state. And all these actions, we're going to move them once more. And we are going to, let's see, let's copy this one. And again, we want to export them. Like that. Yeah, and let's do effects. We'll move effects into, rename that to index.ts. What's it complaining about? Oh yeah, this is also needs some state types. Anyways, let's look at the state first. So now what we're doing now, we're exporting like the main state, which is a state machine. And then we want the app state. So let's create a file called app. And this should hold all the state for that thing. App. Cool. Go down there. And now we can say import state as app state from apps app. Now we can say type of app state there. And let's see, app, and this needs to move into the actions. And I'm just going to flatten them now. Because I have this feeling, I'm not sure, like what's best. Do we want one big file full of actions, or doesn't matter? We can, the point is like we, instead of having namespaces, we divide them by actions and state. And then we kind of put stuff into each of them. So we don't need that one anymore. Let me I'm afraid we'll get into the same issue as we did. Yeah, that's not needed anymore. And then we have add backlog item. Again, we need the state here. So we have add. Yeah, and this is the thing, like separation of concerns. Do you create like a feature that holds state and actions, or do you separate state and actions? But since we're nesting our state now using machines, but our actions are actually something like separate from that, they're not necessarily nested the same way. Like we're flattening them out now. Add backlog item. I'm not saying one is better than the other or one is wrong or anything like that, but just trying to explain my reasoning. Okay, and then add backlog item. That should only be available within, oh, here we go. Type of add backlog item. Oh yeah, maybe we don't even need to say state. State as app, type of app. And then we say type of backlog item, and then we import state as backlog. Oh, add backlog item. Oh yeah, I did call it that. Okay, this, I wonder if this works. It should work. But then all the actions. Let's remove that. And then we go down here and we say, again, we say export. Export, 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 export. Yes, so the thing now is that it's not enough for us to... Okay, let's just set this up first. So we have nothing from auth, none of this stuff. We're just going to import, oops, the state from state. And we are going to import star as actions from actions. Like that. Why is this cannot find module? I guess it just, oh, I need to, oh yeah. Her profile is from state, oh, down one level. Oh yeah, and this is from state app. I guess you're happy now, and everybody's happy. You should be happy, but I don't care. Close others. Okay, so I have current selection, overmind state, add backlog item. Cool. So now we just need to go through all the actions again, because this is now quite interesting. When we now move to authenticated, we actually want to add our app. So we need to import that app from our state. Is that weird? State as app from, yeah, maybe this is a little bit weird. Jeg holder på å ta opp. Let's see. And user, that's from user. Okay, so now the thing is we're authenticated. So now we need authenticated state. So now this should actually be typed with the app, which it is. And our actions are flat, so we don't care about that. So we're just going to make our app run now, and then we're going to reflect on this. That's what we're going to do. Let's see, do we have anything else here? Okay, so open screen. Now this actually can't just do a transition because we have to check if we are authenticated first, which is perfectly okay. And then authenticated state. It's perfectly fine, perfectly fine. And then we want to do state.matches authenticated. And we want to do this stuff. Did I have authenticate? Yeah. It's async, which is also fine. Oh, this is interesting. Oh shit, this is interesting. Because this doesn't actually work. Oh, God damn it. We have to make our notifications The reason is we're doing something async here, and we're not allowed to change state asynchronously, which is interesting. We'll have to look at that later. That's one thing that's a little bit tricky. So state matches authenticated. Well, we don't need. Oh. Authenticated state. Like it reads pretty well. Like if state matches authenticated, and if the authenticated state app matches one of these, do this thing. It's pretty nice. And again, if state matches authenticated. So what I was going to do further. Oh, come on. What I was going to do further was oh, did I do something wrong now? State matches, is it 2? There we go. What I was going to do was, as you can see, we are redoing this kind of thing a lot. But what's possible to do is we can create derived, I think. So you can say, well, can you do that? Yeah, you can. So we can like create state authenticated, for example, and then give a callback. And then this derived is basically just running this thing. That's possible. But I don't know if it's necessary. But you could also do like state matches app, for example. And that would actually run this thing and this thing. But it's not as explicit. Anyways, just a thought. Cool. So again, here we want to ensure that, yes, this is what I like. Like, we always start by looking at what's the state of the app when we run our actions, which I really like that. Oh yeah, so this is interesting. Now we want to do that, and then we want to see, yeah, because this gets just more and more explicit. Oh, sorry, state app. Oh, sorry, authenticated state app matches add backlog item. Then we can do this other stuff. Oh, sorry, like that. Like it looks a little shitty when I add backlog item state. Why aren't these okay? Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, sorry. This is app state. Sorry about that. Add backlog item. Cool. Yes, and again, we want to actually move into the add backlog item. So you can basically just copy this thing and add some parentheses here. And we say app state, Yeah, we don't need that one. Yeah. So if we're authenticated, we're on add backlog item, and if we are in these states, we can do this stuff. It's getting more and more interesting, I think. I don't know how you feel about this, but I think this is a really good way to describe your logic. App state. Yeah, because that's just and we don't have to use so long names. Like we can say like auth state, for example, keep it short. Auth state. But yeah, I really want to check that derived thing. I wonder if I had time for that. Anyways, let's finish this. Current selection. So this is maybe a better example of where having a derived for figuring out the state would benefit more. But yeah, let's see. Auth state app state. There we go. Get current weekday ID and actions. Yeah, so this is interesting. Now we have done. Yeah, so this is interesting. What actually happens now? We are in adding, and then we want to move the app to home. And the thing is, I don't know if it's actually, I don't actually think it's now indicating to us that so for example, if I point to auth state now, yeah, it just says that it works, but it doesn't necessarily do that. And that's, yeah, I guess that's the problem of having the callback. That is definitely the problem, because now this callback item, this is always typed to app state. Or sorry, or for example, auth. It's always typed to this. So it will think that no matter what I do here, it will always think that this is valid, but it might not be, which is kind of sucky. I would prefer that this was only valid as long as it did something synchronous. Because here we're doing a bunch of async stuff. So for some reason you might be unauthenticated. So for example, if you move down, yeah, this is not ideal. So when you're down here, we're doing something async. So everything has run synchronously up to this point. And now we're doing something async. And when we do this async thing, you might get unauthorized, for example. And the problem with that is now none of these states actually matters anymore, or it might not be correct anymore. which would give you errors on trying to transition. So now it kind of becomes up to you to think about this, which I don't like. I don't like it at all. Yeah. That's kind of the point, that you should get help with this. Like with JavaScript, you won't get help with anything, but with TypeScript, you should ideally have help with that. And the only way to really deal with this is that you can never do anything asynchronous. But what does that mean for the API? So if all of this is synchronous, what does it mean if I want to do an async transition here? Does that mean... yeah, what the hell does that mean? Yeah, and maybe this is a problem, like working with state machines, they don't deal with async stuff. So that's why you want so that's kind of why you want to, like with the actor model, you kind of just pass a message. You have this synchronous state machine, and whenever it needs to do anything async, it just passes a message out. It just says, hey, you other machine, do something. Or you, some effect, do something. And then get back to me when you when there's a new message. And then I'll keep doing my asynchronous stuff. But it's kind of waiting for... yeah, it's how you express it. I don't know. I don't feel good about this at all, because this is breaking the whole concept. It's just, okay, you're expressing code, everything looks good, but it might break if you're unauthorized. Which is kind of what you want. Like what it does protect is that if you're suddenly unauthorized, this code won't run. But it's not like it's protecting you. It just errors out. Because the state isn't there anymore. Yeah, but I didn't think, like, I think this was a problem all along. I just didn't see it until now when we were nesting. Let's see, but we need to wrap this up. We need to wrap this up. Let's see. So let's fix. Yeah, so this is also a thing that I didn't think about. So we actually have to do the same that we do in actions in the components. So we have to make sure that if state current equals authenticated, and what are we doing here? And state dot app current equals add backlog item, then we can do all this stuff. We have to be explicit about this, or we'll just return null. Yeah, and then we can say const backlog item state equals. Yeah, I think this stuff needs some more work, god damn it. State app add backlog item. Add backlog item state. Or we can say like root state. And then we say state. so we don't have to change all this stuff. But it's like, it's nice exploring this stuff, because oh, I'm not supposed to pass that anymore. Anyways, yeah, so again, like, we're very explicit in our component. What is the component able to do? Like, what does it require to actually render? We need to be authenticated, and we need to be on this specific page to be able to render this stuff. So we're kind of protecting the rendering of our components as well. But I'm not sure. Did this actually take a callback? Use app state? No, I don't think it does. Yeah. Wow, we've been on for a long time. This was supposed to be a quick refactor, but it didn't exactly work the way I thought it would. Because there's a lot of checks here. It's okay, but let's do one thing. Oh, but is this working? Authenticating. Oh yeah, because I'm kind of exhausting the... Yeah, I'm exhausting it. So I'm checking like all the other states. So now it knows that I'm actually in authenticated, which is interesting. And then it can check all that stuff. Yeah. But the I put the notifications behind... Oh, yeah, that's a bad thing. The notifications shouldn't be behind the app. Yeah, the notifications should be part of the root state, really, because it's even outside authentication. Because now I kind of have to add this to... Yeah, but I can change this for now. So we don't do this. Just return the page. And then we rather do... For now, we're just going to do this. Oh, did I double up on it? Okay, and then we have auth. That's okay. Backlog item. I guess there's some issues here. If state current equals authenticated and state dot app current equals add backlog item. No. Oh, this is just a backlog item. Yeah, I guess we just need to be authenticated. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like even this. Well, I guess it's because I'm actually using the overmind state here. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how everything needs to validate. Now that we put authentication at the top, we kind of have to check that. But it's the right thing to do, because you can be unauthenticated at any moment for any reason. And again, like in terms of the components, like you would have a root component that would take care of this. But this is the decoupling of things. So you could say like, yeah, but what if you move this component to somewhere else, and then suddenly this would be shown when it shouldn't be shown and stuff like that. It's, yeah, you can argue both ways. It seems like quite a bit of overkill, but I think it's the right thing. Like, it's the right thing to do. That's the thing. We're doing the right thing. I talked to a colleague yesterday, and state machines is about doing the right thing. But as like developers, we do care a lot about our syntax and how we express things that like make sense to our brain, but our brain is pretty bad at understanding the complexities of or the consequences of the code we write. Just looks super nice right there and right there, but then suddenly you start breaking shit. Okay, so now our app should technically run again, because TypeScript is happy, but it doesn't look like the app is happy. Let's see. There, it's loading. Cool. Okay, so we definitely broken something. Yeah, I'm interested to see. Yeah, so this is what I wanted to test. I wanted to test. Oh, yeah, I think I know what's wrong. Why didn't it yell at me? Because I did say when we moved to add backlog item. Oh, I know. We have this thing called open screen, and we just transition. Yeah, so we have to explicitly open each screen because the transition needs to be typed, right? So we need to like export const open home. Yeah, this is interesting as well. So let's just copy this. This is open home, but this is more of a TypeScript thing. You can't be generic about stuff. So here, when we open home or home, we don't have to pass anything. But if we were to open add backlog item, it will now tell us add backlog item that we need some stuff here. Basically what we need is the actual add backlog item thing. And now we need to, have we already done this? Import state as add backlog item from state add backlog item. Yeah, and this is also something what was I complaining about? Oh. Okay, let's just say do this app as app state, just to be consistent. Add backlog item and backlog item state. What was I going to say? Yeah, that you're kind of adding state like this. I'm not quite sure about that. But anyways, and then we have edit current week, so we can just change this to edit current week. Open edit current week. Yeah. We don't need screen here. Oops. We don't need screen here. Blah 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 blah. So it looks nice. But now I guess we have some issues in home. Open, edit current week, open, add backlog item. Oops, I have to call it. Cool. And then we have open home, and I guess that's here, open home. And then we also have that in our edit current week, open home. Like a lot of this stuff I would have done differently from like running it from scratch, but since we've been refactoring like crazy here, yeah, it doesn't show anything. Okay, this worked. I wonder why that doesn't show anything. So we're checking if we are authenticated. Yeah, I wonder, let's look at the dev tools. Okay, so on auth changed. We got our state machine here, but we don't have anything in the backlog. And I wonder why. It's as if we don't have it's as if we haven't ran the action for it. Where? Oh, god damn it! I have to go to a meeting soon. So when we on auth changed, we transition home, then we fire up actions on backlog update, then we check if we are authenticated, and then we check if we are home. So I wonder why on backlog update doesn't run. Oh, it's because I'm already in home. That's the thing. You remember we had like initializing. So what we need to, yeah, this is interesting. So we don't want to transition to home here. We are already in home. So we basically just want to run this thing. Oops. Now we have them. Wow, this looks like shit. Anyways. Okay, so now we have that stuff. And again, we're messing around here because we didn't actually. Oh yeah, so sorry. This is what I wanted to check. Because now we're kind of turning on and off the state machine. You can see that in our actions here. You see we unset add backlog item, but then we put it back, which is perfectly okay. That's what I wanted to see, if that actually just works, and it does, and it should just work. Anyways, okay, this is interesting. Okay, so short summary, what do I feel about this? What I like about it is that for every action, we are explicit about when can that action actually run. And having the nested state machines forces us to do that with TypeScript, which I really also like. It explicitly tells you at what point in the application lifecycle am I actually running this logic, which is super nice. And then you will get a warning if you're calling an action and some of these transitions doesn't work. which is super nice. I like that. And what we could do is, so we could create deriveds out of these. So if we have like repeating patterns there, so for example here, we could create our own derived saying state dot matches yeah, something. I don't know what to call this. And then we just do one check. That's possible. Maybe we should, yeah, but then we have this thing, add backlog item, where we start doing something async. And we are protecting you from, yeah, so this would actually break. You wouldn't be able to, oh, this is interesting. So this would actually break because you're doing something async here and we're not allowing you to change the state asynchronously. So we can actually try that. Hello. Oh, I'm actually not able to type either. God damn it. What's happening here? Oh, add backlog. Oh. Oh, that's interesting. Because we seem to be... So our description. Oh, that's what we were doing. We should have an event here. And then this should be description. So I did target value. So I was just pointing to the wrong add descript. What the hell did I call it? Add change description. That's the thing we were going to do. But you saw that I weren't able to, like nothing broke, I guess. Yeah, anyways. Let's try it again. Yeah, or I mean, it didn't actually, you saw now that it didn't actually run the logic of adding a backlog item because I weren't in a valid state, which is interesting. Hey there. So if I add this now, I should get an error because I'm trying to empty out the... Yeah, maybe we don't see it here. No, it did actually add it. No, here we go. Proxy state tree, you're mutating the path. Oh yeah, because we're doing it after we're adding it. So we are adding it here and then we're trying to reset it. But it says here, proxy state tree, you're mutating the path, but it is not allowed. Yeah, and then we're moving into an error state. But for some reason, I'm not showing that error. So basically what we would need to do here, and this is the thing, like, should you know that you need to do this? Because we have to first return, so this is adding state. Basically, we would have to check again if we are authenticated, like, are we still here? Which is, yeah. How long have we been doing this now? I guess for several. Does it show? Oh, 2 hours. That's crazy. But yeah, we would actually have to check and see if we are still in a valid state. And now the problem is I have a reference to this state, which might not be in the state tree anymore. That's the problem. That is the problem. Yeah, I wonder how to deal with that. I have to reflect on that. But let's for now just return No, I think we're going to do this the right way, and then we're going to reflect on it. So we need to do yet another check here. Oh, do we actually have to check that we're adding as well? Oh. Well, now we want to check something else, so. And this is interesting. Are we still adding? Now we shouldn't get the error anymore. What up? Oh. Oh, this isn't working either. Ugh. Yeah, so now it actually changed. And now we're trying to, yeah, and now we're getting the notification thing, because that also errors out. Ugh. Okay, let's just keep this for now. And then we have to think about async. Because after every async, we have to move back into that state. So what we could do is, so in our main state, we could have these derived things that would do like, yeah, and that's the, I guess that's also the tricky thing is we don't actually have, yeah, this is getting out of hand. Like but it's still worth exploring. It kind of shows you the length you have to go to actually properly deal with state. That's the thing. Like, how far do you have to go to deal, yeah, to handle all this state in the correct way? Because what I thought we could do is matches adding, and then you would do like the ride, and then you would have the state, and then oh yeah, you wouldn't actually do it like that. How would we do this? Maybe we would just create like a function. Yeah, matches adding, then you would have like a callback there, but then you would have to type it to the, you have to type the callback. Oh my god. Yeah. No, this wouldn't work. It would be way too much. So the thing is, now we're doing it the right way. We are checking everything. We're making sure that for every step, are you authenticated? Are you actually on this page? Are you actually adding? Then you can do this mutation. And it's the right thing to do. Because in any other app, if you did this async thing, you would just go ahead and change the state. And the way you rely on this to just work is because like you moved away from the UI, so you wouldn't get these updates. They would still be like performed under the hood, but you wouldn't care about it. So that's the thing. That's what I mean about correctly running the code. Yeah, by the way, this needs to be returned. But I wish there was a better way to express it. Yeah. Okay, I have to go to meeting. If you were following along on this, thanks. Again, I'm not like perfectly confident this is a good way to go, but it's very nice to like explicitly see what does it mean to protect your state changes so that they are actually valid changes. It's super interesting. And do you like go all the way? And if you go all the way, it seems like you just have to write a lot more code. And if you don't go all the way, you risk bugs. But there's less boilerplate. That's basically it. But maybe we can find a better way to express this. I don't know. Okay, cool. Bye for now, and we'll talk more tomorrow. Bye-bye.